Hey everyone, I think dividends are the best thing around. When a company like PepsiCo, this is the company behind Pepsi Cola and Frito-Lay chips, when they earn money, they take part of that money and they pay it out as dividends to shareholders like myself. In turn, I can use those dividends to pay my living expenses. In the video series that I start today, I want to go through dividend stock investing for beginners. I'm going to go through part one of the series today, and I'm going to illustrate 36 different photographs that each tell a story about dividend stock investing. I've been investing in dividend stocks for over 20 years. I own 51 different dividend stocks, and in the series that I start today, I want to go through my complete strategy with all of you out there on YouTube. So get ready, everyone, for a really exciting dividend stock investing video. Welcome to PPC Ian. This is dividend stock investing for everyone. All right, everyone, so let's get started. Before we even get started, though, please make sure to hit that subscribe button because this is video number one in the series and you don't want to miss the rest of the videos in this beginners series. And by the way, this series is not only for beginners, but advanced dividend stock investors are going to learn a thing or two as well as I go through my strategy. And if you love dividends, don't forget to smash the like button. All right, check it out on the screen right now. This is the first photograph. And so with this first photograph, you see yours truly in my dividend investor hoodie. I'll link in the pinned comment below. I have a merch store. This is my custom merch, and I'm celebrating 75,000 subscribers. What's so interesting is the 75K that you see right there, that is comprised of products that are all produced by the various dividend stocks that I personally own in my portfolio. And so you see things like Coca-Cola, for example. You see a can there of Diet Coke. You also see some blue painter's tape from 3M. And so the purpose of this particular picture is to illustrate that dividend stock investing, it's actually for everyone. Dividend stock investing, it's not complex in the sense that you don't have to go out and buy some obscure company that you don't understand. In fact, a lot of the companies that I invest in, they produce products that are around me, whether that's in my house, whether that's at work, or whether that's when I'm just out and about in the city and I'm looking around, I can see the products that I invest in and the services that I invest in everywhere. And so the first thing worth noting is if you're intimidated by the stock market, you don't necessarily need to be, because dividend stock investing, it revolves around companies that have stood the test of time that we all need for our day-to-day living. These are companies that are not going anywhere. And so with that, check out on the screen right now photograph number two. And photograph number two, again, is yours truly. Don't worry, I have photos in here too that have things other than myself, but I want to start with the basics. And you can see there I have my Thug Life investor shirt. Again, this is available in my merch store. The reason that I am portraying this picture here first is I believe that dividend stock investing is a hack. I believe that it's literally a hack or a cheat code to the game of life. One of the things that is so challenging with life is literally we all have to go out day to day, we work for money, and we need to use that money then to pay living expenses. But the problem with that cycle is all of us are always working. We're always working, and we don't have enough time for the fun things that we like to do, like going out and enjoying nature, going to a movie, spending time with friends and family, because we're caught in this cycle of working to pay for stuff, working to pay for the mortgage, working to pay for rent, to pay for that auto loan, to pay for living expenses. And so the reason that I'm wearing my Thug Life Investor t-shirt is literally dividends, they break that cycle. When an investor like myself buys a dividend stock, buys a company like 3M, and 3M pays off a dividend, part of their earnings to me, the dividend can be used to pay bills. And so now I am automating my income. No longer do I have to actively work for the income. Now the dividend, the company that I own, the stock that I own, it's working for me. And so it breaks the cycle. It's a cheat code. I look at that as the thug life of the investing world because we're totally breaking the mold. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. Picture number 3 today is, again, Thug Life Investor. Shout out to my homie Donnie. Donnie is a member of the community. He made this amazing artwork for me. I now have it framed in my office. And the reason I'm sharing this is dividend stock investing is a community, and so PPC Ian here is a community. I have a Facebook group as well that I'll link to in the pinned comment below, and you can see some of the words that he uses here help embody and describe what dividend investing is all about. It's about community, it's about growing, it's about teaching, it's about dividend yields, it's about hustling, it's about music. Hip-hop music, rap music, it really inspires me to keep pressing forth. It's about respecting. It's about PE ratios. It's about looking at forward metrics such as where the company is going to go in the future. It's about sharing, learning. He even has legacy on here. That's a big part of my strategy, is having a legacy for the future, for future generations, and also for charitable contributions. It's about buying and holding. It's about thug life. And so take a moment to really appreciate Donnie's artwork, because I think it really does embody what this journey is all about. And whereas if you're new to starting out with your investing journey, the beauty of this is we do have a community here of like-minded dividend investors. All you need to do is go to the comments section below or go to my group on Facebook. We're always talking about dividends and supporting each other, because one thing that I would say is, if you start talking about dividends just with your peer group, your friends and family that you have now, please do that and see their response. But if there are skeptics out there, and sometimes there are, if you're talking about dividends at work, for example, some people, they just might not get it. And so that's why there's a community here, because we all support each other on this journey to receiving financial freedom. Really, the goal of most people here in this dividend investing community is generating passive income, buying these world-class brand name stocks that can eventually replace all of our earned income, our job income, or at least a good half of it, so that hours at work can be scaled down and spent on more desirable things like going out and running, for example. So let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. I want to start off with this one again. It's me yet again, but the reason I want to share this particular picture is I'm doing a thumbnail here for one of the videos I did a long time ago, but it's kind of this fighting pose. And the reason that I'm showing this fighting pose right now in picture number 4 is basically dividend stock investing, selecting the companies, understanding which companies to buy. It's not necessarily rocket science. There's a lot of analysis that goes into it. There's a lot of fundamental analysis that I share on this channel. And in future videos in this beginner's series, I will go into. But I would say the hard part, the difficult part of dividend stock investing, it's not necessarily, oh, hey, just go buy PepsiCo, because it's not that difficult to figure out that Pepsi is a world-class dividend stock and will continue to be for decades upon decades into the future. The hard part is sticking with the plan. The hard part is understanding that there will be naysayers outside of the community here who say, you can't do it, you're not good enough, it's impossible. They'll tell you, hey, the stock market, it's gone up too much, so maybe Ian did it because he's been doing this for over 20 years, but you can't do it because you're just getting started. There's going to be all this negative naysayers. You're going to even question yourself. You're going to be your own worst critic. You're going to be your own worst enemy, looking yourself in the mirror, going into work yet again, perhaps even a job that you don't want to go to, and you're going to wonder, can I do it? There's going to be people out there even that realize, hey, I've made all these mistakes in the stock market already, and so it's kind of too late for me. I've made every mistake in the book in investing in the stock market. I've shared a lot of them here, and thankfully, now I'm full-time dividend stocks, and so I've righted a lot of those wrongs, a lot of those mistakes. Those mistakes have made me a better investor. But what I'm trying to say here is this is a fight, it is a struggle, and it's not necessarily picking the stocks, or it's not necessarily the strategy on paper that's so hard. It's actually walking the journey. It's actually being frugal and saving that money to invest. It's sticking with it because it's going to take at least a decade, if not 2 decades, to reach financial freedom. It takes time. It's going to be sticking with the strategy. It's going to be not getting so tempted to go do something else. It's going to be fighting. It's going to be going through those difficult days where, hey, maybe you even face a layoff at your job and you're like, oh my goodness, do I tap into all my dividend stocks, all my savings? What do I do? Can I get another job? There's going to be times when you doubt yourself. It is going to be a fight. So before you get started with dividend stock investing, realize it is going to be a fight, but realize it's a fight worth winning. It's a fight worth having, because eventually you will be financially free through the process of dividend stock investing, if you stick with it long enough and work hard enough at it, it is possible. And there's many members of the community here that are living proof that that is possible. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so I got a lot of photos to go through today. This is number 5. This is actually a real estate property that I'm starting to develop right now. I am a real estate developer by trade, and so I do invest in real estate in addition to dividend stocks. And what I love about this photo is the sky is really gloomy. The land looks really ugly. There's nothing there but a bunch of weeds, and basically, this is kind of the starting pad. This is what it looks like. And so when you start with dividend stocks, things might not look perfect in your life. When you start with dividend stocks, just like building a piece of land, developing a piece of real estate, it might be a barren piece of land. There might not be anything there, but we all have to start from somewhere. And eventually, when I'm done developing this property, there's going to be an amazing commercial real estate project there. It's going to be very beautiful. It'll probably also have a sunny sky when we have our grand opening. And so the fact of the matter is nothing in life worth having comes easy. And when you start out with anything, it can be intimidating. It can be like this barren piece of land in the gloomy sky. But eventually, it's going to turn into something beautiful. And so also there's an analogy between building a property and building a portfolio. When I build my dividend stock portfolio, I'm literally look at it as building a small business. I'm actually building brick by brick by brick. Just like I build a building with CMU bricks, I would be building brick by brick by brick with purchases of various dividend stocks. I typically purchase my dividend stocks on a weekly basis, and eventually there's a finished product, which is a finished business. Now, you can't kind of see your stock portfolio the way it is a building because it's ownership in various companies. When you own stock, you are a part owner in that business. So it's a compilation of businesses. But what's so empowering is I look at my stock portfolio as my business. Anyone who's a dividend stock investor, even if you work a job, even if you have a boss maybe that you don't appreciate or doesn't appreciate you so much, anyone who becomes a dividend stock investor becomes a business owner, which is so exciting. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next thing is here I am with my 2 kids, and we're picking cherries. And so eventually, I'm building a building in the last picture, but maybe you don't want to build a building. Maybe you just want to plant an orchard. And what you have here in the screen right now are some cherry trees. We're picking cherries. And so the analogy here is when you buy dividend stocks, over time, the cash flow increases. Over time, the trees will grow because a company like PepsiCo, I keep using that same example, but it's my number 2 favorite stock of all time. It's such a great company. They increase the dividend each year. It goes up, and so I can buy here and put in money here, but the cash flow I get from Pepsi, it goes up year over year over year, just like the trees grow. And if I reinvest my dividends, that snowball effect, that compounding gets even greater. The tree grows even bigger, if you will. And so what's so exciting about dividend stock investing, if you start small, you start here just by planting a small seed. Over time is one of the most important factors with dividend investing. The tree will grow huge over time. It's just like this. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. Next one, you can see just the bucket of the cherries that we picked. And so once the dividend stock portfolio is more mature, like mine is getting right now, I'm already using some of my dividends to pay bills. It's okay to pick some of the cherries from the tree and use those here to consume, to enjoy. Dividends, you're picking literally dollar bills or money off of the tree. It's a money tree, and that money can be used to pay for living expenses. And honestly, it can be paid to it can be used to pay for living expenses, so you work less hours at your job, so you can spend more time out with your family picking cherries, for example. And so I love that analogy so much. Next picture on the screen that I want to go into is about construction. Check it out on the screen right now. This is me and my son. We had the matching face mask during the pandemic, and you can see we have the construction signs on them and such. And so construction vehicles, construction signs, construction theme. And I would say there are a lot of parallels between dividend stock investing and construction. Just like I said, brick by brick by brick, you're building something. I'm building something. I'm building my dividend portfolio. I typically buy dividend stocks every Monday. If I'm too busy on Monday, I'll buy them on Tuesday. And when I make my purchases, I am layering in new bricks, construction in the palace that I'm building that will throw off all of that passive income that increases over time. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. Next photo that I want to show is of this beautiful Audi R8. This is at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. And what I would say here, one of the big things about dividend stock investing, it's about lifestyle control. And so when you're a dividend stock investor, maybe when you're much older and you're just very, very successful at dividends, a car like this might be possible. But right now, these types of automotive feats are best left in the museum. And so you can appreciate fine cars and maybe even rent an Audi R8 from time to time. But owning a car like this is probably not going to make the most sense, because the more purchases that you make, the more purchases that I make, it delays the financial freedom. It delays the early retirement. It delays the cash flow, because that money could be better used, saved, and put into dividend stocks. And so one of the challenges, going back to the earlier photo of me fighting, is basically that there's a fight to avoid the temptation of expensive purchases. That's actually a temptation I fight quite a bit. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. So the next photograph that I want to share is me. I'm at a local historical house and gardens here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I live in the Silicon Valley Bay Area. It's called Filoli. And basically what I'm doing here is enjoying nature. The purpose of dividend stock investing is to have moments like this. Honestly, am I more happy here at Filoli going out in the gardens, or am I more happy if I owned an Audi R8 and driving? Hey, I'm a car guy, so maybe I'd be just as happy with each, but I would say this is really a suitable alternative, spending time in nature. Maybe even here I was with my family this day, with my kids, enjoying it with family, but even if I were just there with a book, reading a quiet book in their gardens, that would be just as much fun. And so remember, with dividend stock investing, it's a lifestyle. It's not only about the passive income, but it's about realizing what's really important in your life. And what's really important is not necessarily the material things, but it is buying back your time. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next one, here I am in Hawaii enjoying island vintage coffee. Now, from time to time as a dividend investor, it's okay to take vacations. It's okay to splurge. You know, if you're going to just sacrifice everything to go from point A to point B, you can do that quicker. There are members of the community in dividend stock investing that have done that. But along the way, I do need to make splurges. And this is one splurge, is a Hawaiian vacation with my family, enjoying my favorite coffee in the world, this island vintage. Sorry, Starbucks. Starbucks is, I guess, my second favorite coffee in the world, and I'm a big shareholder in Starbucks, but this coffee is just the best. It's amazing. And so the point is, if you're a dividend stock investor, it's important also to save up some money for some splurges and luxuries along the way, because it's a long journey. It's a long fight. It's going to take a while. And you have to enjoy life during the journey as well. So don't forget some splurges. Now, check it out on the screen right now. Here is my wife and I. We are on a date night. Pretty rare because we have 2 kids. We don't. And now with the pandemic and everything finally ending, hopefully we'll have a lot more date nights around the corner. But this is one from, I would say, right before the pandemic. And we were out at a concert. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. And anyway, the point of this picture is to show that the most important things in life, honestly, are spending time with your significant other, spending time with family, with your kids, with friends, going out and having a good time. And again, dividend stock investing, it makes that possible. Honestly, without dividend stocks, many of the bosses that are out there, they want to see their employees working all the time. They want maximum productivity. And so dividend stocks, they can finally buy back some of your time, so you're able to go out and do fun things and focus on spending time with people, spending time in really good settings like at a concert. And so I want to keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. This is a picture from a PPC Ian meetup. I have not done any of these since the pandemic, but now that the pandemic is ending, I plan on organizing some of these again in the future, so stay tuned. I'm really excited. This is so far for just kind of my California crew. I've had people all over California come to the Bay Area. I've also done some meetups, or one meetup in Los Angeles. I've done one or a few up in the Sacramento area, a lot in the Bay Area. So this is actually the one from the greater Los Angeles area. Shout out to all my homies in the picture. And I want to say here that dividend stock investing is about community. And so this goes back to Donnie's picture, that it is a long process. It is something that sometimes you even wonder, oh my goodness, my dividend stock portfolio, it's only spinning off $50 a year. Am I ever going to reach financial freedom? Well, it starts small, but it snowballs over time. That's the math of it all. And I will go through in future videos some of that math, but I want to start simple today in this introductory video just to get everyone excited about the concept of dividend investing. But one of the reasons for the community for the meetups is just to keep us all excited and trading our best practices and learning from each other. It's all about learning. And one of the things about dividend stock investing is it makes life exciting again. If you're kind of in a rut, if you're in a place in life where, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in a dead-end job, dividend investing is that hack. It's getting out of that rut, and it's exciting. And it's exciting because you're building a business. It's exciting because you have a whole new group of friends now. You have a community here that supports each other. It's exciting because you're finally on a journey. You're on a fight. It is a struggle, but it is something. It is not a rut. It is not getting stuck working in perhaps a job that is less than desirable for the rest of your life. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. The next one is, it's about giving back. So during the pandemic, myself and the community here, we raised some money. These are the ER staff in Miami. And we raised money because they were working so hard around the clock that they didn't even have time for food. They didn't have time for breaks. And so we banded together as dividend investors, used some of our dividends for good, and we donated here. Shout out to my friend Bernie. My friend Bernie, his wife works at the hospital here, and we worked really hard to bring in food and provide funds to bring coffee and refreshments for the amazing medical staff there. And so sometimes when you're a dividend investor, you're always focused on yourself. You're always focused on, I want to get here. I want to do this. I want to be free. But sometimes there's other benefits to the dividends as well. Hey, these dividends, they can accomplish a lot of good in society. Hey, these dividends, even after my lifespan is over, they can do a lot of good for future generations or even for charity on a go-forward basis. This is automated cash flow forever. That's the crazy thing about dividends, is it doesn't end when your life reaches its end. It goes on forever. The dividends just keep growing, keep ballooning, keep improving over time. And that's why I love investing in world-class companies. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so this one is my car. So this is kind of contradicting myself, and I would say there are a lot of contradictions in the world of dividend stock investing, in my strategy at least. And so it's not black or white. There are shades of gray. And with that, I do have a fancy car. It's one of the splurges I've made. But I think one of the things worth mentioning here is you always need to consider the source that you're listening to. I am not perfect. I am not a perfect dividend stock investor because I have made some of these more expensive purchases in my life. Reaching financial freedom, reaching my eventual goal, it's getting delayed. It is. And so I'm kind of on more of a fat fire, financial independence, retire early. It means I'm going to get there a little later. I'm going to get there with a few more luxury items. I realize what I'm doing, but there's many in this community who they don't want that. They want fire, financial independence, retire early. They want it quicker. And so you have to keep in mind as you watch my channel and my videos, you got to consider the source, and you have to realize I'm coming from a unique perspective. I'm sharing my personal journey. Everyone is out there, and you have to do out there what's best for you. And it may be very different than what I'm communicating as part of my personal journey. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next one is my lunch. And so I like to contradict the last picture with this one. Whereas I do splurge from time to time, and it is okay as a dividend investor to splurge, it's important to realize that most of the time, to compensate for those splurges and to afford to be able to invest in dividend stocks, it's important to save money. And so most days of the week, this is what my lunch looks like. I don't go out to eat as much anymore. I like to eat healthy. I like to eat lean. I like to bring my lunch on the go. This is an affordable lunch that I enjoyed actually out at my commercial real estate property when I was visiting. Brought my own lunch, save money, stay healthy, because dividend investing is also about being around for the test of time. It's about being here for the long term, because some of the best benefits, they're not going to happen right now. They're going to happen for me even 10 years, 15, 20 years from now. I still want to be in really good health. I still want to be here on YouTube. By the way, if you enjoyed the video so far, please go ahead and smash the like button. It really helps me out. I want this beginners series, this beginners video, to reach as many people as possible, because I think dividend stock investing, it is for everyone, and I think it is the solution, in fact, to a lot of the issues that folks face out there in society right now, being stuck in certain positions. Dividends are freedom. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so I'm moving along in picture number 17. Oh, this one, it's kind of repetitive, but I like Air Jordans. And so I thought I'd just throw it in and I'd show you that, hey, splurges are okay sometime. Just keep those splurges under control because they will, every time you make them, they will delay the dream. All right, now I'm starting to get into some really fun stuff. I want to share one of my favorite dividend stocks of all time. That is Starbucks. So check it out on the screen right now. I invest in Starbucks. I bought a ton of Starbucks during the downturn, during the pandemic. And the point of this picture is when you're trying to find which companies to invest in, I think it's important to invest in companies that you love. I think it's important to invest in companies where there is an emotional attachment. I have an emotional attachment to Starbucks. I'll take pictures with Starbucks all over the world, wherever I travel. This one is in Sun River, Oregon. Shout out to all my friends in Sun River or Bend, Oregon area. Man, I love those areas. And the fact of the matter is so many people out there will tell you when you're investing, keep the emotion out of it. You're going to realize that in dividend investing, a lot of what we do with dividend stocks, it's completely different than the rest of the financial system. And a lot of these best practices, quote unquote, out there in finance, they're not right for dividend investing. And dividend investing, for me to stick with Starbucks through the good times, through the bad times, to invest for it for, say, the next 30 plus years, I need to have an emotional attachment to my stocks. And I do. And I look at that as a competitive advantage. I look at that as an edge, if you will. And I think it's important when you're investing to realize that what you're told out there, it's not always right, and it's okay to do something completely opposite. In fact, I believe most of the time when I do the things that are opposite to what everyone else is doing, usually that's the right thing. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. Next photo again is Starbucks. This is me around the holiday time with my man, I think that was the peppermint mocha and probably a pumpkin bread. What I want to share here with Starbucks, again, is I was buying it in the pandemic during the downturn. Everyone was saying no one would buy Starbucks again. The stores were closed. No one's going to be able to afford that expensive coffee. Well, everyone's affording that expensive coffee right now. It is a daily necessity. And so being a contrarian investor, buying it when it was trading at like $50 range per share, now over $100 just a year later. And so it's so important to realize that with investing, follow your heart, follow your conviction, follow your analysis. Don't listen to everyone else out there. Yes, it's okay to get other data points, but for me, my best investments have been when I've gone contrarian to what others are doing. And so big part of dividend investing is we're hacking the system. We're coming up with a cheat code to improve upon our lives. And it's very different than the system that's out there. And so also even selecting the stocks and selecting when to buy such stocks, sometimes it's very different to what other people are doing out there. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next photo is me in front of AbbVie. This is the local AbbVie office. I think this was in the Redwood City, Redwood Shores area where we were going on the weekend. And I would say, you know, you're a dividend stock investor when you bring your entire family to the AbbVie headquarters to celebrate during a long weekend. And so I thought that was just funny. I would say dividend stock investors are an interesting bunch. Definitely we are quirky and odd on our choices of activities to do on the weekends. Sometimes we're just going to headquarters and appreciating the companies that we own. But seriously, AbbVie is another great example of a company that I bought when everyone was discounting it. It was trading at a PE, I think, of like 7 or something. Everyone said that they were in big trouble because the Humira patent was expiring. I dug into the numbers. I used my financial analysis. I'll link to it in the description below. You ought to check that out. It's some of my best financial analysis when I analyzed AbbVie. And I realized that all the analysts out there talking about AbbVie, they're completely wrong. I bought it and it has just skyrocketed since I got it at those bargain basement prices. So again, the takeaway for dividend investors, trust in your gut. The other takeaway for dividend investors, trust in your analysis. And if you have an emotional attachment and you're willing to go there on the weekend, it's usually a good sign that you're probably going to enjoy holding the stock for the long term and enjoying those dividends, because growing the dividends, it takes time. It doesn't happen. It's not get rich quickly. It's get rich really slowly. It's kind of the slow brick by brick approach, but it's a solid approach and it will get there. It's not definitely not trading. It's nothing like trading, but it also involves a lot less stress. You'll see in a lot of these photos, I'm smiling. In a lot of my videos, I'm smiling. I don't lose too much sleep ever over dividend stock investing. It's the smooth jazz, if you will, of the stock market. It is a very peaceful approach, although there is a fight to it because it takes a while and there's a lot of willpower. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. The next photo I want to share is Bubbly. Believe it or not, this is a PepsiCo product. I would say when you're out and about, look at all of the products that are in front of you and just Google who makes this product. If you find good products and you Google who makes them, you will oftentimes find great dividend stocks. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. The next one is Chevron. Don't forget to look up. When you're out and about, look at all the signage, look all around you. Chevron is another company publicly traded that I own, pays a dividend. And who would have thought? Just a year ago, everyone said oil was going to go out of business. I even started thinking oil was going to go out of business during the pandemic. Price of oil was at levels so low. I'd never seen levels so low. Price of oil, just a year later, it's back. And so Chevron is another example of a contrarian investment. Oftentimes with dividend investing, just like when I was buying Starbucks during the pandemic, those people that bought oil during the pandemic have done well. And I actually invested in some oil, some energy during the pandemic. Not a ton, but a little bit. And I'm grateful for that because I bought at bargain basement prices and these stocks have now come back. And so there's two lessons on this screenshot. One is just to look all around at logos for dividend stock ideas. Obviously, you don't just find an idea and then invest. It involves a lot of research to then vet it out and make sure it's a good investment. That's what's going to be the rest of this series that I go through. But it's a good starting point to find world-class brands. And the other takeaway here is when everyone is saying something is doomed and it's over, usually that's a wonderful time to look at it. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. Next stock is, again, PepsiCo. This is at Costco. One thing you may want to do as a dividend stock investor is just go to Costco, go to a big warehouse store and start looking at all the products to find ideas. Again, these are just ideas. Financial analysis is required to really vet them out and make sure that they're good ideas, that they're good investments, but it's a starting point to get a watch list. I don't like getting a watch list online from other YouTubers or from blogs or such. When I first started my channel here, I didn't even share stock picks. The reason for that is I think it's really important for dividend investors to have conviction. Conviction is important because as a dividend investor, you're buying and holding typically forever. Forever is the time period. And when forever is the time period, it's really good when you or I are the one actually generating our own ideas because that creates conviction. And so rather than go online, try to find XYZ stock list. For me, I prefer to go offline, go to Costco, start looking at the products. That's where I find great stock ideas. And then I go from there because I generated then the idea myself. And when I generate the idea, I'm going to have a better experience really vetting it out and investing in that idea for the long run. Let's keep going. Check it out right now. Just next to the Pepsi Frito-Lay products, there's the Utz brand Inc. What's so interesting is, again, this goes back to the bubbly example. Go ahead and Google everything. Google it. Who makes Hawaiian style chips? Utz Brands Inc. Wow. I didn't even know that a few years ago. And I think this is an acquisition actually of Utz within the last, say, 5 years. And so maybe back then they didn't even own it, but I now own Utz. And so you're going to find such obscure, interesting, wonderful companies just by Googling it. Who makes this product? Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. This is a similar example with Kettle Chips. Who would have thought Kettle Chips? It's made by Campbell's Soup. I own Campbell's Soup as well. That is a stock I love. They make Kettle Chips. And so this is the chip aisle at Costco, and I am totally stacking chips. And so with that, I have another favorite stock of mine. Oh my goodness, I love this one. Check it out on the screen right now. This one is McDonald's. And so great companies, they don't have to only make products, they can be destinations. And McDonald's, it's always there for us. It's there all the time. It's open at night. It's open late. It's there for adults, but kids also love it. They have Happy Meals with great toys. It's multi-generational. What's so wonderful about McDonald's is not only is it a restaurant, but it's a real estate play. A lot of the restaurants actually, they don't even operate the restaurant anymore. They franchise it out. They own the land and they have refranchised, if you will, the land. And so the franchisee who operates the restaurant pays McDonald's rent, and so they have one of the best real estate portfolios on the planet. But they also generate fees from the franchisee. And so McDonald's is such a complex and wonderful investment. It could be the best dividend stock of all time. If I were just to buy one stock, I don't know, it'd be probably between Pepsi, J&J, and McDonald's. But McDonald's, sometimes I think that might be the best because if I could only own one stock, it's so diversified because it's a real estate play and a restaurant/food play as well. And everyone needs to eat. And so I love McDonald's. And Yeah, really cool dividend stock. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next one I want to share today is Disney. And so my family and I went to Disney Aulani. It was amazing. This was before the pandemic, but you can see that they even cut the bread as the Mickey Mouse. This is the kids' peanut butter and jelly at lunch. Oh my goodness. And so two takeaways from this screenshot. I love companies that have a competitive moat. I love companies that have a competitive brand. I don't own any Disney stock, but my kids do. I bought it for both of them. And what's so exciting about Disney is no one can compete with Mickey Mouse. I look for competitive advantages. I look for something special. And so dividend stock investing, it's not about buying low, selling high. It's about buying once, holding it forever, receiving cash flow, passing it on even to future generations. And so which companies are going to stand the test of time? They have to have a competitive moat. And I would say at Disney, the competitive moat is their branding and their content creation. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next one is 3M. This is at Home Depot, one of my favorite dividend stocks of all time. I love Home Depot. It's performed really well for me. What you also see, though, at Home Depot is these types of displays. Hey, here's Command, 3M, Scotch brand display. I would just say when you're out and about, it doesn't have to be even at Costco. It could be at Home Depot. I think Home Depot is an amazing place to find such great dividend stock investments. And I really enjoy the fact that 3M has such a diverse portfolio of products as well. And so sometimes when I'm looking for dividend stocks, I don't want everything to be in the food space. I own a lot of consumer packaged good foods type companies. I own PepsiCo, for example, and I own Campbell's Soup. I own Utz Brands Inc., as I just mentioned. Sometimes it's nice to diversify. And so when you're building a dividend stock portfolio, don't only look at Costco. Maybe it makes sense to look at Home Depot as well, and look out and about for McDonald's as well. Look all over, all around you, because the best dividend stock portfolios, they have representation in all the different sectors. They're a well-oiled machine. They're a robust business, because there are sometimes in our economic cycle where industrials are doing really good, but restaurants are not. There are sometimes when consumer packaged goods is doing really well, like during the pandemic, but maybe industrials are not doing so well, so on and so forth. It has to be diversified across many industries and many different products, many different services. You want to build a portfolio that can weather any storm. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. Next photo. Oh, it's 3M again. Look for the details. I would say when I'm doing financial analysis, but also when I'm just out and about looking for stocks, you probably can't even see it on your screen, but there is a 3M. This is a reflector on a cone. And I noticed, oh my goodness, 3M makes the reflective part of this cone. That's so exciting. Now, the next stock I want to share is one that I really came to appreciate at my job as a profession. I'm a commercial real estate developer. I recently built a commercial real estate facility. It was a self-storage facility, and we put in an elevator, and part of putting in an elevator is it needs to get tested and approved. And when it was getting tested, oh my goodness, check it out. They put a bunch of weights in it. And the way they put the weights in the elevator are with these hand carts here. They fill them up with weights. And you can see there, Otis SF. I happen to own Otis stock. I owned it actually before even seeing this, but this gave me so much more appreciation for Otis that we put in an Otis elevator and we tested it right here. And it's nice just to see Otis out in the field. So when you're at work, if you have an area of expertise with any certain thing, keep your eyes open. And I would say all of us in investing in life, we got to find out what our advantages are, what our edge is. For me, I would say budgeting and avoiding luxury items, that's not my edge. There's people in this community that are so much more frugal than me that would have reached financial independence already, perhaps a lot quicker than I ever will. But one of my edges, I would say, is analysis. It's deep analysis, and it's the strategy. It's sticking with it. It's picking stocks. So I'm really, really good at that side of things. But also what I would say is some people out there, they have an edge even that's different than mine and also different than the budgeting. It may be that you work in a specific field and you have such a deep level of expertise in a field that you understand things that just other people don't understand about that field. So for example, if you work in the elevator industry, you might understand that Otis, for example, has such a competitive advantage that their competitors like ThyssenKrupp, they just don't have, for example. I'm just making this up, but I'm just saying you may work in the information technology industry you may understand something, for example, about Apple Computer, another stock I own, Apple, that just is unstoppable, for example. And so when you're out investing in dividend stocks, we all have to look for our gifts. We all have to look for our competitive edges. And so just keep that in mind throughout your journey. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so the next stock, or the next picture, I'm up to number 31, is the Pepsi truck. Oh my goodness! Look for competitive moats. Look out in the wild. One of the best places to find brands that have stood the test of time and will continue to stand the test of time. Obviously, this can't be the end-all be-all of financial analysis. It's just a place to start, but I sure love it when I see Pepsi out in the field. And in terms of the next one, taking the soda aisle to the next level, check it out on the screen right now. Here is the soda aisle. I own the soda, Pepsi again. And so for me, when I find an industry I really like, sometimes I'll just really hone in and try to really capture that industry. I own a lot of the soda aisle. I own a lot of the chip aisle. I know that these snack foods will always be around. Yes, people are getting more healthy, but companies like Pepsi, they're innovating and they're making healthier products. And so for me, what I would say as a dividend investor, yes, it's good to diversify, but once I really understand a particular niche and I like it and I feel like it's something that's going to be around, there's no need to pointlessly diversify, if you will. I'll just stay in that soda aisle and keep investing there if I believe it's going to be around forever and it's going to provide an anchor, a core to my portfolio, make my portfolio really stable. If I go to the chip aisle and I really like the chip aisle, there's no need to go over to some other type of food or some other aisle. I'm using a metaphor here, obviously, but I like to stay in that chip aisle because that's what works for me. And so that's part of dividend investing as well, is finding what works for you and sticking with it. And sometimes that gets boring. Going back to the beginning of the presentation, that's why it's a fight sometimes, because it can become mundane. You're wondering, when am I ever going to reach financial independence? And I keep buying this same stock and it's getting boring. That's part of it. And the community solves part of that. The rest of it is just picking up hobbies and being more frugal, finding ways to just stay with it. That's part of the struggle, part of the journey, but it's a journey that's really worth it. Let's keep going. Check it out right now. And so the next one I want to share, I don't own this stock, but many of you do. This is the San Francisco Premium Outlets. This is the one out in the greater Livermore, Dublin, Pleasanton area. And this is a great outdoor shopping center, SPG. So when you're investing in dividend stocks, it's not only about products, there are also real estate plays as well. And SPG is a real estate investment trust. The tax is on something like that get a little bit more complex. So be ready for that if you want to venture into REITs. But I do think, and I said it's not black or white. I just did a slide about why I stay focused on soda and chips, but now I'm doing a slide on why it's good to diversify. I would say the best dividend investors, in my opinion, are able to look at things many different ways. And it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. You're always kind of looking at things from different perspectives. And so, whereas I said focus is good, I'm now saying diversification is good as well. And so it is complex, just as life is, but real estate is a great place to look for dividend stocks as well. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. I just had to throw this in. This is Rick Ross's book, Hurricanes. I actually saw on his Instagram recently that he is in process of writing and releasing another book. I absolutely cannot wait. That made my day, put a smile on my face, because Hurricanes is one of the best books I've read in my lifetime. So much knowledge in there. And the reason I am sharing this is the journey of dividend investing. It's always about becoming better. It's about learning more about investing. It's about up-leveling as an investor, but it's also about learning more about life. It's also about learning more about business, because you want to be happier in business. You want to get a better job. You want to potentially earn more money or earn the same money by working less hours, becoming more efficient at what you do. And so part of the community here, it's about always up-leveling your skills. And the difference between dividend investing and a lot of other investing strategies is, I'd say, it's more methodical, more driven by thought, more driven by analysis versus emotion. Whereas in a lot of other a lot of other practices of investing, people are just trying to trade. They don't even know what they're trading, but they're like, hey, I'm going to buy this here and sell it up here. They don't even know what they're buying or selling. It's more driven by action and activity and emotion. Whereas dividend investing, it's more about reading the book, understanding the fine print, and sticking with it methodically and making fine tunes to the strategy here or there, but overall sticking with the strategy. The other thing I would say about the Hurricanes book, and there were so many lessons from this, by the way, if you like the content here and you want even more PPCE and content, I'll link in the pinned comment below. I have a Patreon with 35 bonus videos already and growing, and you can get access to all of those videos right away if you join. It's only $3 a month. I have a $10 level as well, and you can cancel at any time. I have so much great stuff over there. Check it out. I already have a ton of patrons over there who are enjoying it, and I did a complete book review of Hurricanes on there, actually. But one of the things I'd say about Rick Ross is he never gave up. He faced a lot of adversity in his life. He faced a lot of setbacks, horrible setbacks, but he stuck with it, and now look at him. He's a superstar, and he's one of the wealthier artists out there, musical artists. He has a huge compound in Georgia, like a 100-room mansion and all these cars. I'm super jealous, but I look up to him. I think he's a very successful entrepreneur with what he's accomplished. And what it tells you, though, about dividend investing is there will be times when it gets tough. There will be times when you almost feel like you're moving backwards or you made a mistake. Look, anyone who's successful has made mistakes. Anyone who's successful has faced setbacks. Anyone who is successful has faced adversity. It comes in many different forms, but I think Rick Ross is a perfect example of someone who has faced struggle. And sometimes in his journey, he felt like other people were blowing up in their careers before he was, but he stuck with it and he made it. And I think that's one of the key things too, is you're in a race against yourself. You're not trying to race against me. You're not trying to race against someone else who already reached financial freedom. You're in your own journey. We're here to motivate each other, but it's okay if someone else reaches financial freedom first. You will get there as long as you find the strategy that works for you and you stick with it. Let's keep going. Check it out right now. And so the next one is number 35. And this is just dividends in the snow. I was on a family vacation. I'm kind of bringing it back to family here. Why are we doing all this? What's the point? Well, one is just to give back. I did the whole Miami hospital thing earlier, but the nurses, bless them all. But the big part of it as well is some of the best fun. It's not in that Audi R8 or in the fancy vehicle in the Porsche. It's out there in the snow, enjoying the dividends. Hey, I'm able to go on this family vacation and go in the snow thanks to dividends. And I'm able to just feel a little less stress. I think all of us out there, I don't know if you're like this, but when I go on vacation sometimes, it used to be this way that I felt like if I take any time off of work, when I come back, my desk might not even be there. There might be someone else sitting in my chair. And oftentimes it felt like that, especially in certain jobs, not all of the jobs I've had, but certain of them. And I almost feel like that's the culture these days. And I would just say, even look, if you haven't even reached financial freedom, just having a portfolio. The portfolio will have value. You don't want to do this as a dividend investor, but having a monetary value to the portfolio, it can come in a pinch. If you have to sell stocks at some point or another because of job loss, because of a financial hardship, at least that nest egg is there, and that gives a lot of peace of mind. And when the dividend portfolio gets bigger, the cash flow alone is enough to cover a good chunk of living expenses. When you get to that level, you don't really worry about going on vacation anymore, because it's kind of like, look, if my desk isn't there when I get back, I got the cash flow to pay for most of my living expenses. Or if you're not there yet, but at least the portfolio value is at a good size, the dividend investor never wants to sell. The idea is to buy and hold forever, but that option is always there. And I'm someone in life who likes options, and having just that option, yeah, I could sell and it could help me get back on my feet. It makes it so much more exciting than to go on a vacation, because without the dividend portfolio at all, you really do feel that, hey, yeah, if I go on vacation and I come back and my desk isn't there, that is scary. And so that's something that always has been going through my mind until my dividend portfolio got bigger and I felt more comfortable just with my financial position in life. Let's keep going. Check it out on the screen right now. And so this is the final picture. This is me running. I was running in a local race here, and this one was in Belmont, California, in the greater Silicon Valley, San Francisco Peninsula area. This was a really fun race a few years ago. And basically, I'm a runner. I love running, especially for long distances. I'm really slow, super slow, but I can keep going. That's kind of my thing. And I get a lot of my best ideas when I'm running. It helps clear my mind. I think if you're a dividend investor, you want to invest in your health because you need to be around the long run to invest, to enjoy the benefits of your investment. But also, I would say, you learn a lot about investing in dividends from running, because by running, I start realizing, yeah, the long run, the marathon, if you will, that's what dividend stock investing is all about, or the half marathon. I'm more of a half marathoner. I've never really gone further than that. That's kind of where I have aspirations to, but that's where I'm at now in my running career. But there are so many parallels, and I want to leave with that this is not get rich quickly. It is get rich slowly, but it is the smooth jazz of investing. It's less stressful than anything else out there. It's predictable. It works. It's real. It's multi-generational wealth. And what I'm going to do in the future videos in this series is I'm going to go into more depth about practically how can someone get started with dividends? How do I analyze stocks? How do I even buy stocks? What kind of budgeting do I use to buy stocks? So on and so forth. And so I'll get into some of the more practical elements of dividend investing. But the purpose of this video was just to set the stage of what it is when we say we're dividend investors, what it means in your heart when you say you're a dividend investor. If you're not a dividend investor, when you look at this community of dividend investors, what are they all about? Hopefully now you all know. If you enjoyed the video today, please go ahead and smash the like button. That really means the world to me. And don't forget to subscribe, because you don't want to miss the rest of this series. It's a really special series. And before I leave today, in terms of a full disclosure, I do own the stocks mentioned today. I am long 3M, ticker MMM, Coca-Cola, ticker KO, AbbVie, ticker ABBV, Johnson & Johnson, ticker J&J, Apple, ticker AAPL. I am also long PepsiCo, ticker PEP, Otis, ticker OTIS, Utz Brands Inc., ticker UTZ. I am long Campbell's Soup, ticker CPB, Chevron, ticker symbol CVX, AbbVie, ticker ABVV, and the Home Depot, ticker HD. I own all of these in my personal dividend stock portfolio, and any of the products portrayed in that first slide, the 75,000 subscriber slide, I own all of those. Those are all the or a lot of the companies that I own. All right, everyone, I'll see you in the comments section below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in part 2 of this series.